And let me ask you this now. So Bukele made that policy. And well, first of all, I want to ask you, when did you first learn about Bitcoin? Because everyone has a time where they didn't know much about it. And then like I was that way. I didn't know anything about it. And then when did that happen?
The first time that I heard about Bitcoin was when we're about the process to start to have a Bitcoin as a legal currency in El Salvador. Mm-hmm. I heard before about that cryptocurrency is a more global nomination about those things, but never about Bitcoin. I heard about Bitcoin when President Bukele decided to, make a very strong decisions in order to have, as I was saying before, as far as I know, the only country all over the world to have Bitcoin as a legal currency in all country. And I mean, that it's something different, something else that even us as a Salvadorians, somehow we need to, somehow to rethink about what is happening with the Bitcoin in our country. So, and that is why it's really important to start teaching our students a very low age, a very low grade, in order for them to understand the advantage of that Bitcoin as a legal currency in our country.
So let's get into that, because this is one thing that's amazing to me. I mean, we were talking before the show.
Yep.
It's great you're teaching kids. I mean, I think just in America, we weren't taught enough just about money in general. We're not taught like savings and investment. We're just not taught that. And I don't think in most countries are teaching their kids that. So this is, not only is it revolutionary that you're teaching kids about Bitcoin, but just educating children on
financial educations. Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
How is that going? How are you guys doing it? And what is, now that, like, what policies and what are the programs and how is that working and how are you rolling that across the country?
I think everything starts thanks to all the strategies and policies that are being led by the government of President Nayib Bukele, right? And since the adoption of the Bitcoin as a legal currency in our territory, our country has made, in my point of view, a quantum leap in economic, commercial, and tourism terms. Absolutely. And in terms of educations, the implementation of Bitcoin represents a great opportunity for growth and also for development in our youth students at the different ages. And that is also allowing us to promote the education of this very important cryptocurrency in the public education system. So I think Bitcoin allows person to person, we were discussing previous the show, right? Transactions without the need for intermediaries. It's you and me making a transaction, in allowing anyone, even students, to have access to a decentralized payment method, which is right now in our reality is something very new. We are not used to that. And that is why it's so important to teach our students. Because if you go to me or to my dad and you start talking about Bitcoin, they're going to get scared because we are used to have, a currency, a piece of paper or a coin in our hands. But when you are talking about Bitcoin, you have everything on a device like a smart cell phone. And that is not normal. That is something that is not in our environment. In my mind, I started thinking the other day, what happened when someone back in time decided to start using the currency, the paper, the coin, because previously it was, the trade.
Yeah.
The trade. I have cacao and I have a pound of cacao for a cow.
Sure.
Or a horse. Yeah. And that is the things that is happening now. The advantage is that now we are thinking on education at the same time as we are teaching them about this new currency, this new Bitcoin. So I think we as a country are very lucky to be one of the pioneers, or the one and only pioneers on this area. So from my point of view, Bitcoin decentralized natures, because it has been created in that sense, is decentralized, and that makes it resistant to censorship, in my point of view, right?
Yes.
It is allowing anyone to make a transaction without waiting time. I mean, we right now I have my wallet here, and we can make a transaction. And as the global Bitcoin network has been active, as you already know, since last January 2009, right? And continues to run without any single pause until today. It's been, been implemented in no pause in between. So Bitcoin facilitates, and we strongly believe on that, international transfers in a very faster way, right? And in a cheaper way also than the traditional method.
Well, that brings up two really interesting points. One of the things that I first opened my eyes to the power of Bitcoin was this: on a global level, there's something like 2.5 billion people that don't have access to traditional banking.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's true here in El Salvador. Now, you were tell me about what we were discussing before, and tell the audience about how a lot of people in the countryside, how hard it would be for them to do traditional banking before Bitcoin.
Some of them, even at very long age, like 60s, 70s years old, they don't even have a chance to go, and they don't know a bank. That strong as that. They don't know a bank office.
Because they live
far away. El Salvador is a small country, but with very strong barriers, talking about the mobilization, right? And commuting from one of our farthest communities to a city, it can take, I don't know, hours in order to get there. But the thing is that they don't use it because they don't want it, because they don't trust them, because they don't have easy access, because they have to travel in order to make a bank transactions. So again, this decentralized way of doing business is something that is blowing the mind of everybody in El Salvador. And that is why, again, we need to start right now. We don't have time to waste, because we are convinced that this is going to have a progress to our country, because we're going to implement a system that facilitate the transactions person by person. No one is going to be in between. No going to be an intermediary in order for you and me to make a transaction. So for me, that is the key point. And talking again about the educational context, which is my role, learning about Bitcoin, I'm convinced that can help students to understand key financial concept. You were mentioning it before. Nobody in any other country is teaching about financing in a very low age. Mm-hmm. They wait for you to get to the university and then start talking about, because you are earning your money, and at that time it's something somehow stupid, because I mean it's like you have to wait until you are 18, because you can move all over the world without asking permission for no one. So you have to wait until 18 to start walking. No, you start walking when you are young, when you are a child. So that is why it's important to start teaching about this key financial concept. Nobody talk about subject like inflation, which will give you a solid understanding of the traditional economical system, as well as economical alternative to address negative effect of a poor money management. Nobody's doing that. So right now is opportunity. We're going to teach our students about Bitcoin, but at the same time, we're going to teach them about key financial concept that they need to learn. They have to. Otherwise, we are mutilate them
Yes.
right?
So this is a great point, because this is one of the things that I think when I first came here in June and was just talking to El Salvadorians, just on the street, in the store, some of them, and I think this is true anywhere, but Bukele made it legal, the legal currency in September of 2021.
Yes.
And the price was, I don't know, 40 or 50,000 or something like that. And then a year later, we had the FTX scandal, which drove the price down. And so some El Salvadorians were like, I lost all this money.
I told you.
Yeah, I told you, it's a scam. Don't do it. I mean, a year ago, Bitcoin was at 19,000. Today, we're at 51,000 or something. So how are you guys? I guess now that it's back up to 51, it probably is helpful to say, see, just wait. How is that education process going in terms of people saying, well, I had $100 worth of Bitcoin, now it's only worth $60, and how is that? Are people starting to kind of get it? And are the students at least going, oh, I see, and seeing like save Bitcoin for the hodl it for the long run? How is that working?
I mean, the first things that we have to understand is that one of the very positive aspects of adopting Bitcoin in the country is that we are given access to our population to a very robust financial system, to people who did not have the easy of the access of the traditional system. We understand, and I understand very clearly, that this is not going to be something that is going to happen from now for tomorrow. This is a process that we have to construct, that we have to build. There is a pathway that has been already designed by the President of the Republic, and he showed us the way that he wants to have the development of this country, right? So one of the key asset on that is basically the adoption of the Bitcoin. Now, you can make, everybody that wants to do it can make a transaction, buy any product, pay for services from the comfort of your home. That is something that even the use of the credit cards in our country, it was not that popular than the one that you are seeing with the adoption of Bitcoin. Those communities like the one that we were mentioned before, El Sonte. I mean, you can go there, pay restaurants, you can pay hotels.
I rented my surfboard in El Sonte.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can go and ask for a minuta in the street, and they are using Bitcoin. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be in a very short period of time, but we already started. And we're going to continue with that because we are convinced that this opens a wide range of opportunities for our population.
How much? So obviously it's smart starting young with the kids, because 10, 20 years from now, you're going to have a whole population of young people who are completely knowledgeable about Bitcoin. They're going to be using it every day. It's not going to be this crazy thing. But obviously you've got to start. But the other thing too, I was reading, there's roughly 3 million El Salvadorians that live outside the country, and they send in, I forget the number, but it's billions of dollars every year. And before Bitcoin, there's all these fees and all this other stuff. So now what are you seeing a larger percentage of El Salvadorians sending Bitcoin into the country, or just those fees, is that helping with the education going, your family in Los Angeles?
Absolutely. We are not experienced that yet, but we are we are supposing that with the education of our students, they're the ones who are going to start asking for their relatives, their families that are living outside the country to start using it, because it's cheaper, faster, and it's a person-to-person transactions. We don't need to have no intermediate in between in order for them to start using it. So I'm pretty sure we're going to start using it as much as we want it, as soon as we continue with the teaching of our students at that age, starting from the very beginning, from the very first grades, and in order for them to start thinking about this new currency, which is the Bitcoin. So for me, Bitcoin education complements with the technology access that we already have in the reform that we are performing right now, led by President Bukele, Mi Nueva Escuela, which implements as a Ministry of Education. So each student for early childhood can reach their high potential in renovated infrastructures. So everything have to be adequate. And since that is happening, we cannot wait no more in order to start teaching Bitcoin in our schools. We do have all the requirements. They do have computers, every single student, starting from kindergarten. They do have a tablet.
Oh, wow.
Every single one of them, 100% of our students in the public sector. That is why we are watching that more every day are, moving from the private schools to the public schools, which is really good because we provide them for age years old. We gave them a tablet.
Wow.
From 4 years old grade to middle school, every single one. We are providing right now, starting February the 1st, installing internet quality. I mean, internet with the best quality in our schools.
What did they have before? No internet?
Nothing. I mean, we do have 50% of our schools that we provide internet, but that is how do you say, the internet that you use at your home. That is the quality that we provide them, which means that if one is connected, the bandwidth is for you. But if I came into the schools and I got connected, your bandwidth, you have to share it with me. And as far as there are more people getting and joining the network, it's going to be shared. At the end of the day, you are not allowed to do anything over the internet because it's full. But now we are providing quality internet, which has a bandwidth for you, for me, for him, for everybody. Established is like half of megabytes per students that they are going to have access. Downloading and uploading, which is something very, very good for them. So we do have the tools right now. I don't know if you are watching the things that we have been doing on that matter, and it's incredible how our students are eager to learn. The other day, I was inaugurating in a school with one of our partner, which is Nation Bitcoin Nation.
Node Nation.
Yes, Pupusa G is one of our teachers there, and there were a couple of students, and they approached me and asked me, "Listen, are we going to start using Lightning?" And I didn't know how to answer. And I asked Pupusa, come here. They are asking me something that I don't know, because we are, creating nodes in every single school. We're not going to go to the 5,000 schools that we have all over the country, but we're going to select nodes, and we're going to have that in several sides of our country. So, which is really, really important. So,
that's amazing. So just to clarify for the audience, he said they're going to be putting nodes in the schools,
yes,
which is really means El Salvadorian schools are going to be part of the blockchain verifying process. So if you're new to the show and watching the show, just when the show's over, look up what is a Bitcoin node, and you'll see the significance of why putting this in the school. So now you're starting to put nodes in some of the schools. You've got better internet in the schools. All the kids are getting tablets. What else have you done?
With my first Bitcoin, we train our teachers.
Oh, Mi Primer Bitcoin.
Yeah, Mi Primer Bitcoin.
That's great.
We already start training last year a group of our teachers in order for them to start training other teachers. But at the same time, because we want to start teaching Bitcoin in our classroom, right? So they like 300 something teachers have been trained so far. We're going to continue with that, but they are going to, roll out the training to their colleagues and at their schools. So we're, in that process, and we also start with our students too. We are promoting boot camps, and one of them is going to be related to Bitcoin. Specifically, our students, right now, we already start with one of our bootcamps, and that is related to programming languages and everything, security and cloud and all those stuff. But one of them is going to be Bitcoin, related everything about Bitcoin. For 2 weeks, one of our students, the one that they decided to participate all over the country, we do have. Right now, we have 11 different places where we are implementing that bootcamp. And right now, we're planning to expand that for the double at least. And then we're going to have a bootcamp basically related to Bitcoin. It's like a deep process for them in 2 weeks to know not only the basic, but also a very strong knowledge about Bitcoin and, of course, financials, strategies and financials, procedures and everything that they need to learn. So we are in the process. We are not where we wanted to be right now yet, but we are in the process already, and I'm pretty sure we're not going to stop. I mean, we're going to continue, as you know, the Bitcoin implementation, no pause, but we're going to continue in that rhythm and in the path that the country already designed for taking out our country when we founded and moving forward into the development process, right?